Proposer that they are accurate. Councillor Mumford, seconded by Councillor Legg. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much. Chairman's announcements. I only have one small one, that Councillor Guy is absent this evening because he is in London on IFCA business, that's all. There are no questions under Standing Order 14. Item 5 is to consider reports from committees, including the receipt of minutes, draft minutes. You've had them all in front of you. Can I take it that you have considered them? Can I have a proposer to that effect, please? Councillor Sims, seconded by Councillor Mumford. All those in favour? Unanimous. There are no motions in accordance with Standing Order 12, and as far as I'm aware, there are no member updates. Oh, sorry. Vice Chairman has got a brief member update.
Yes, I'd just like to appraise members of the fact that I attended my first meeting of the Local Enterprise Partnership Board yesterday, which was interesting, and I'll give fuller details at a later date. Thank you.
Councillor Legg.
I'd also let members know that I'll be giving them updates on medical travel, which I attended 2 days ago.
Thank you. Are there any more? Thank you. Item 8, urgent items. I have no urgent items. Item 9, which is the appointment page, outside body appointment, and the paper is going to be presented by Mr. Thomas.
Chairman, I've really got nothing to add to the paper. I think it's pretty straightforward. It's up to members to consider what they wish to do.
The only thing I would say is that myself, the Vice Chairman and Councillor Mumford interviewed on this, and we were completely satisfied with. Have I missed? That's the next. Oh, sorry, I've missed a page out. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, right. This is the Cornwall Partnership Trust. My apologies, I skipped an item there. This is the Cornwall Partnership Trust. And we need to appoint a single nomination for an appointed governor to sit on the Cornwall Partnership NHS Foundation Trust Council for Governors, and that we make a nomination for the representation on the Sustainability and Transformation Plan Board. Hit by a deathly silence, sorry. Councillor Mumford.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Barclay.
Sorry, I missed that.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Barclay.
For which position?
The first one.
Cornwall Partnership NHS Foundation Trust.
I'd second that.
Seconded by Councillor Marcus. Are there any other nominations? All those in favour? That is unanimous. Thank you, Councillor Barclay. The second appointment, a nomination on the STP board. I will nominate Councillor Grottick.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, you misunderstand me, Chairman. I would like to make a nomination.
Sorry. I don't nominate Councillor Grottick.
I would be very happy to support anyone that was nominated, but in this particular instance, I would like to suggest that we twin the representation on the Sustainable Transformation Board with the lead member for adult role, which is generally, I believe, the protocol of other authorities. It does seem to sit very well with this role. So I therefore nominate Councillor Davis for this role, please.
Councillor Barclay.
I would second that proposal. I think the Vice Chairman says they're in good partnership with roles.
Are there any other nominations? Councillor
I
Sim?
don't wish to nominate. I just think it may be useful to make it a portfolio position, so it just goes automatically to the lead member for place in future. Or adults. Yeah, or both, adults.
That was my intention.
Chairman, if I can just come in there. The general expectation, certainly in recent times, is that the chairman actually of the Health and Wellbeing Board is the preferred appointee for this particular position, but obviously it's within your gift to obviously nominate other individuals. And that is set out in the report.
Vice Chair?
Thank you. I'd just like to clarify, actually... Excuse me. Thank you. If I could clarify, this process actually started in March 2016, where actually, with respect to Mr. Dryden, at the time, I sat on the first meeting and was a member of the panel, as I was currently then acting chairman of Community Services, and also at the time acting lead member for adults. So I started the process. At a later date, it was suggested that the role should go to the chair of the Health and Wellbeing Board, Councillor Christine Saville, who, as members will be aware, is a very experienced, long-standing chairman of council and had held various other appointments. And I was very happy to defer to Councillor Saville. However, when I went to my first lead member for adult meeting, network meeting in Taunton, I was the only lead member for adults at that meeting who was not actually representing their authority on the Sustainable Transformation Plan. It was no problem to me, and I hope that Councillor Saville and myself worked happily together, and Councillor Saville regularly appraised council of how things were going. But I can assure members it is a general protocol within the South West that the lead member for adult role does indeed sit on the Sustainable Transformation Board. Thank you.
Are there any other comments? We have a proposition, and Councillor Sims, do you want to propose that that is taken as protocol, or is that just a suggestion?
Well, if it's potentially contentious, which it potentially may be, then I would draw that and maybe leave it for another date.
Okay.
Chairman, if I may, my understanding of the Vice Chairman's original proposal was that it sit with that role.
Yes, that was my original intention. I'm sorry if I didn't make it clear.
Sorry, right. Can we have the proposal, please? Is that we appoint Councillor Davis, and he's
that it would be
the as lead adults, and that is where the appointment sits, is with the lead member for adults and not with the individual.
That's right.
Okay. So the proposal is that it sits with the lead member for adults, not with the individual. Are there any more comments before I take it to the vote? All those in favour? Against? If any? No, that's unanimous. Thank you. Right, now we move on to the bit that was on earlier about. Agenda item 10, the appointment of the monitoring officer. I will go back to my comments earlier that myself, the Vice Chair and Councillor Mumford had a telephone interview and we were more than happy with Matthew Stokes to carry on the good works that we've had from and support from Cornwall. Are there any questions?
I'd like to propose the recommendation.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Legg? Any discussion? All those in favour? That's unanimous. Are you there, Matthew?
He's not there, but I shall. Excellent decision. I shall pass on your unanimous vote to him. He'll be very delighted.
Thank you, Andy. Appreciate that. That was Richard, was it? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, well.
Thank you very much indeed, Richard.
No problem.
Okay. Right. Agenda item 11. Early years capital. Right. This is being presented by Keith Grossett. I'll hand over to Keith. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, the purpose of this paper is to seek your approval for capital spend in relation to a new duty on the local authority to deliver up to 30 hours extended entitlement for children aged 3 and 4 living within the local authority. That's 30 hours per week. We've been able to secure a capital grant from the Department for Education of £407,250 on the basis that it is match funded by the local authority on a 25% basis of £135,750. The capital grant will be used to support the redevelopment of the Crafty Kids Nursery and the provision of extended early years provision at the Five Islands School Carnguaval site. So the ambition is that working families will be able to choose where they send their children for the early years provision, and that it will also be able to stretch over term time and holiday periods as well by having 2 providers. The match fund is proposed that we be sourced from public borrowing and also identified capital funds already within the local authority for basic need student place money funding. And it's expected that the revenue cost to support that capital investment will be found from increasing in the rent of Crafty Kids and also in funds released from moving away from the Carn Thomas site as part of the corporate property strategy. Thank you. If you have any questions.
Throw it open for debate. Councillor Nellams.
It's only an observation. I see we're delivering at least, or proposing to deliver at least 23 additional places. Are we confident that we've actually got people who can staff these additional hours and look after these additional children, if you like?
Yes. When the initial bid was put together, we didn't have the Five Islands School on side fully. Now the Five Islands School is fully on side. We can use them as a resource as well as Crafty Kids and the additional space that Crafty Kids will also receive. So, yeah.
Councillor Mumford.
Could I ask that if this is approved and this building goes ahead, what about arrangements whilst the building's going on for the nursery that's already there? Are they going to be able to continue?
Yeah, what we're proposing is that they would relocate for the interim to the Carn Thomas play zone site, to the children's centre. So there's a few dominoes to be lined up in terms of getting the Crafty Kids property renovated, Crafty Kids relocating to Carn Thomas, and then us all decamping from Carn Thomas into new spaces.
Thank you.
Councillor Grotty.
Thank you. Can I just ask, I'm looking at the bottom of page 6, item 2.1.3, and the cost of financing the borrowing. Can I assume that there's some capital repayments in that? Otherwise it seems that at this time of historical low interest rates, we'd actually not be getting a very good rate. Could I ask Mr. Brown?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that one. So the 8,000 cost associated with financing the borrowing does include interest repayment as well as a provision payment for capital repayments, and that's something that's called MRP, minimum revenue provision. So that costs around 8,000, covers the interest as well as the capital repayment.
Thank you.
Councillor Williams.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to say I welcome the potential investment in facilities, and I think it also makes very good use of a council area which is really serving very little purpose at all at the moment. I think the integration between the Crafty Kids setting and the investment into the Five Islands School offers a lot of potential, particularly the area that the Five Islands School potentially can benefit from. I think it's quite innovative and offers some exciting learning opportunities for children on Scilly.
Councillor Smith?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say I'm certainly supportive of the principle, and I think it's excellent to be able to offer more early years provision and to allow more parents to work more hours. My only questions really are around sort of risk management. One, what if government policy changes back from the sort of 30 hours per week? And secondly, in terms of the business plan on the repayment of capital, what's the payoff period of that, of the 115,000?
I think Mrs. Brown is best placed to answer that, but I was working on my understanding is around 15 years, is that correct?
So in terms of the payoff, the reason I've put costs circa 8,000 will actually depend on the asset life. So I'm actually working on the asset life of the building being around 25 years. So the actual borrowing, the loan that we're going to take out to fund this, that will be subject to a report that I'm going to intend to bring to full council in August. And that matter, the timing of that loan, the length of that loan, will be a decision that I'll bring to the August council, because that could be around 15 years in terms of the loan. So there's two elements going on there: the length of the loan, and also the asset life, which determines the capital repayment as well, because that's the policy that we have for MRP. So on that basis, the minimum revenue provision, the asset life, I'm working on a basis of 25 years, but the actual loan that the council takes out may be less.
Just for clarification, Andy, then in that case, are we actually saying that we are being asked to approve tonight subject to that finance paper being approved in August?
No, I think what you're approving tonight is the actual project being approved to be financed by borrowing. The actual decision around borrowing, which is the report I'm bringing to you in August, will actually be about all of the council borrowing that we need to undertake, and going back historically. So I think this project approval, in terms of the actual project that you see in front of you, is fine. The actual report I'm bringing, it will be a collection of issues around borrowing, of which this will be one of them. So I don't think it is subject to that decision, because the actual that decision is more about timings and actual the length of borrowing that you're going to undertake, which is much wider than just this decision. This decision is effectively, are you going to undertake this project and receive some of the match funding and also then take some of the borrowing? In theory, once you make that decision, I could then just go out and borrow the money under the current Treasury strategy. However, given regard to the current financial position of the authority, I think it's only wise that I bring those decisions back to you as a council in August, so that you make those decisions and are fully aware of those decisions and the implications, and that will be the August report. I hope that's cleared.
Right, thank you, that has cleared it, thank you. Sorry, I couldn't see you like that. Ashley?
No, it's really tricky. Chairman, to answer that question, obviously government policy could change, but to be honest, government policy is what it is right now, and actually the greater risk for the local authority is not meeting its statutory obligations in providing 3- and 4-year-old childcare. We did really well in getting the amount of money we did, given the size of our child population, and Keith put in an incredibly good bid explaining the costs of construction here, the usual stuff we do. So it's kind of not looking a gift horse in the mouth. One of the good things we've done with the design brief is to make sure that those spaces are actually flexible in the future. Obviously, the long-term cost of borrowing for that will always fall to a local authority, despite legislative changes. But we will make sure that we can use those spaces in a different way if, in fact, the government walks away from that 3- and 4-year-old offer, and actually we're going to have to think about using it differently for children. So there's some reassurance, but yeah, this is what the government requires us to do. They're very, very committed to this policy, and they're determined it should land. So we're not really in a great position of choice, and I think we've got quite a cost-effective scheme, which definitely in the short term will give not only benefits to children but also to families. I think it's going to really give reassurance to lots of working parents that they can actually pursue employment, and I think might address some of our recruitment and retention issues locally. So I'm feeling very positive about the impact this might have.
Mr. Sims?
Actually, the last sentence is what I was going to say, really. It's some cost to the council, but the economic multiplier externally is much, much bigger. So I think that's really important. Second thing I want to say, it's a really good piece of work, and well done, everybody who did it. And thirdly, I'd like to propose all 3 recommendations.
Councillor Noel?
I was simply going to echo what Aisling said and pick up where Jonathan made the point that great for working parents. It's got a double benefit for the children, for the working parents, as Steve said, on the islands particularly here, in retention of staff and giving people the opportunity. I think it's excellent all round. Happy to second it.
Councillor Mumford?
Just one more thing, going back to the moving around of the nursery. Has there been consultation with the people, the lady who runs?
Yes, yeah, we've been
thank you.
sharing the development plans and the project plan as well.
Can I just say, Councillor Mumford, that your train as lead member for children is really showing really good questions for us.
Councillor Smith?
Yeah, just sort of following on. I mean, all absolutely taken on board and you know, very supportive in principle. I suppose my questions really just centre around the financial risk to the council. That's what it centres around. And perhaps, can I just ask Andy Brown his opinion on that, please?
Did you hear that, Andy?
Yeah, so just to clarify the question, that the financial risk in terms of the change in government policy, or the financial risk in terms of the actual project itself?
Well, I suppose just the combined overall risk, you know, essentially. Obviously any financial borrowing decision carries some degree of risk, but just to sort of contextualise it.
Yeah, indeed. So I think you quite rightly summed up the borrowing does contain risk, and there's the report sets out how that would be mitigated. And I was quite clear with officers in terms of we have to demonstrate to the council about how we would mitigate the cost of the loan, and I think the report does that. So I think that's contextualised and mitigate itself. The issue around government policies, well, that is always a risk that we have to bear in mind. But I think the plans that the officers have set out, Aisling and Keith have set out around this are sound. I also know that they have been speaking to government around some of the issues and some of the concerns that we have, and they have made some good progress and good discussions around trying to mitigate the risks for the council, because, as I've said, I think previously, some of the risk areas financially for the council, it only takes one of these issues to have quite a sizable financial risk to the authority, and that's always in the back of my mind. But I think to contextualise it, I think what we've done here, we've put most of the mitigations that we can in place around this project.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Just one little point. We've not really mentioned it, though it is in the report. This is a statutory duty. We have to do it anyway, and I think that, as I said before, it's been done and dealt with very, very effectively. So, well done, everybody. But we do need to bear in mind we haven't got a great deal of choice anyway.
I thoroughly concur with what you've just said. However, I do think, as far as our community is concerned, in particularly young families, working families with young children, this is actually a very good news story. And I'd like to emphasise that for the member of the press in the gallery. He is listening. Right, in that case, if there's no more comments, I'll take it to the vote. All those in favour of all 3 That is unanimous. Thank you very much. And I think that might be some sort of a record at 7:56. I close the meeting. 6:56. Sorry, 6:56. I was right first time. Thank you.